The Department of Water and Sanitation has laid criminal charges against municipalities that have not met water quality and infrastructure standards. This also includes municipalities that have not met the deadline to submit corrective action plans. Now, these municipalities have breached several sections of the National Water Act. Let's get more details now and speak to Department of Water and Sanitation Director General, Dr. Sean Phillips. Dr. Phillips, always a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much this afternoon. Why did the department decide on this particular course of action?
Well, it's part of our role as the regulator of the water sector in terms of the National Water Act. The National Water Act defines certain acts as criminal offences, including pollution of the environment, but particularly pollution of water resources. And the National Water Act states that it's our job to monitor the water resources and to make sure that they're not polluted. And when there are polluters, be they municipalities or private companies or anybody else, we need to take regulatory actions, and it provides for us to issue non-compliance notices, to issue directives against the polluters to address the pollution, and as a final resort, particularly if they're committing an offence which is defined as a criminal offence, such as severe sewage pollution of water resources, then we can press criminal charges against them in terms of the Act.
And when it comes to, some of the corrective action that you've taken, as you are telling us right now, that there have been compliance notices and all of that, is it a case of unwillingness on the part of municipalities, or is it a capacity issue, or what is going on there?
There are various reasons. Sometimes it's a case of unwillingness, and we particularly go the criminal action route when it appears that there are directives and non-compliance notices and our offers of support to the municipality are being ignored. Where there's a problem of lack of capacity, we try and work within the intergovernmental relations framework, and we offer capacity building and support to the municipalities. Where it's an issue of problems with infrastructure, we offer to assist municipalities. We have grants which we can give them to assist them to address the infrastructure shortages. Sometimes it's a problem of the municipality not having appointed people with the right kind of skills and qualifications to operate wastewater treatment works, which are quite sophisticated plants that need to be operated by properly qualified and trained people and experienced people. In those cases, we advise the municipalities that they need to adhere with the legal requirements for the hiring of properly qualified staff. And if they don't take our advice, then we might sometimes need to go the next step of taking stronger action, such as either civil action or laying criminal charges.
And how many municipalities are involved here, and what unfolds now in terms of the process?
We currently have criminal charges against 14 municipalities. With some of those municipalities, we have several different criminal charges that we've laid. Once we've laid a criminal charge, it has to be investigated, and then it has to be prosecuted by the prosecuting authorities. The legal processes usually take some time, but they have on occasion resulted in some finalization and successful prosecutions. For example, it was in the news recently in the Lekwa municipality, where there were joint criminal charges laid by us and the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment for the Lekwa municipality polluting the water resources and the environment. And as a result of that criminal charges and the prosecution, the Lekwa municipality was fined 70 million rand, and the court ordered that money must be used to repair some of the wastewater treatment and sewage systems which are resulting in pollution of the environment. Similarly, last year, there was a court case as a result of criminal charges that were laid between us and, again, the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment, which resulted in the municipality being fined 5 million rand. And again, it was declared by the court that fine must be used to address some of the problems resulting in the pollution in the municipality.
And I was listening to, some interviews and reading some of, the reaction to this particular action that, the charges that have now been laid by the department. There's mixed reactions. Some are saying that, this is a right step to go because it will ensure compliance on the side of municipalities. But I was also reading something else that is interesting from Professor Michael Kidd, who told the Daily Maverick that this is not fixing the problem, but rather addressing the symptom and not the cause, and also saying that this all has to do with optics. I wonder, how does the department respond to that?
Yes, I read that article. I agree with the professor in that a lot criminal actions and charges and court cases on their own are not sufficient to address the problem. We need to take a range of measures, of which this kind of regulatory criminal charges are only one of the range of measures. They're important because they do send an important message that it's completely unacceptable to pollute the environment, to pollute the water resources. It's very dangerous, and it is a criminal sense it is a criminal act in the sense that it can be harmful to human health. For example, we know that diseases such as cholera occur when you have sewage pollution of water resources. But we need to take other actions as well. We need to become more consistent with our application of our other regulatory measures, such as issuing non-compliance notices as directives. We need to continue to offer support to municipalities and help them with grants to address infrastructural deficiencies. We also need to strengthen our minimum norms and standards in terms of the Water Services Act, and strengthen the requirements for the hiring of properly qualified and experienced technical staff by municipalities to work in these areas.
Yeah.
And then further than that, we're also looking at additional amendments to the Water Services Act to require municipalities which are providing water and sanitation services to get an operating license, which will set further standards for the capacity that they must have to provide these services. And if over time they consistently fail to meet those requirements, to empower the minister to appoint another water service provider who does have the capacity and ability to provide the services to standard.
Very briefly then, Dr. Phillips, what's the latest on the situation in Botswana? Because we're still waiting to know where the source of the cholera outbreak is. Where are we with that?
So internationally, it's very difficult to find the source of an outbreak of cholera. Cholera can be spread through a couple of means. It's a fecal oral disease. So it's basically spread from feces through people ingesting food which has been contaminated with feces, or people ingesting water which has been contaminated by feces. So an original, a person who was carrying the cholera bacteria might have gone to the toilet in Tshwane, and their feces would have gone somewhere into the water system in Tshwane, and then that might have resulted in other people getting infected. But it's very difficult to find that original source, because that infection, pollution of the river might have flown far downstream by the time we're currently doing the tests.
All right, Dr. Phillips.
But the point is not so much to focus on the original source, but to deal with the problem. Yeah. And there is progress now in dealing with the problem. We are now working with the Tshwane municipality. They've now voted funds to do repairs to the Rooiwal wastewater treatment works, which is resulting in the sewage pollution of the river. And we are also working with the Development Bank, with Tshwane Municipality National Treasury, to put together a funding package for a large upgrading of the capacity of that Rooiwal wastewater treatment works. So the situation is improved in that previously we were taking both criminal and civil action against the city to try and get a court order to get the city to fix the Rooiwal wastewater treatment works. But under the current leadership of Tshwane, the approach is improved, and they're now working with us and the Development Bank to repair the Rooiwal wastewater treatment works, which is quite possibly the source. The pollution from that Rooiwal wastewater treatment works is quite possibly the cause of the outbreak of cholera in that area.
Thank you so much, Dr. Phillips, for your time. Do appreciate it. That was the Department of Water and Sanitation Director General, Dr. Sean Phillips.